the showing the appreciation, showing that you care about your employees, even if it's not something that necessarily you care about, but you show that you care about what they feel is important to them, they will reciprocate.
Speaking with Yaakov Gluck, CEO at the Contractors Office. What is that all about? Well, the Contractors Office, established in 2016, is a full office service firm providing accounting, bookkeeping, payroll, and virtual office services in New York and the surrounding areas. The Contractors Office is dedicated to providing a comprehensive range of personalized solutions that will allow contractors and small business owners, we're going to discuss that, to run their operations in the simplest, most efficient way possible. On this portion of tonight's show, we will discuss outsourcing non-core tasks in order to enable you to run your business more efficiently, moving money around to get the best bang for your buck, and young entrepreneurship. Yaakov Gluck, thank you for joining me here on Mind Your Business.
No problem.
Okay, thank you. Let's just. I love discussing with entrepreneurs the backstory. What was the aha moment that he's like, I ought to establish a company like this?
So actually, my brother is a contractor in the landscaping industry.
Okay.
And I noticed he was struggling financially with just taking care of his books and dealing with collections from his clients and so on and so forth. I had experience already in the finance industry, more in the nursing home industry, but also in the finance industry. And I realized that when I was working for a company that owned a whole bunch of nursing homes, they had a back office that was taking care of a whole bunch of work for a whole bunch of different companies, for different nursing homes. I'm like, why can't I do this for a whole bunch of different companies versus a whole bunch of nursing homes?
That's actually a great story. That it was, the whole concept was born to a certain degree out of chesed to your brother. He was running a successful company, but just he was stretched thin. There was only so much that he could do, and in this area, he needed to outsource it. I guess that's the best way to put it.
Well, yeah, because if he would start hiring for it, he wasn't yet necessarily
big
enough
scale,
to afford it.
That's
then again, with this, he didn't necessarily know what he was doing.
Okay, so that's really a great way of framing it. That it's true. While a major company would hire people and do many of these services in house, but as small companies are starting to scale, they don't need someone for 30 hours a week, 40 hours a week. They may need someone for 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week, and they would turn to your company.
Well, yes, but the thing is, they also need somebody 40 hours a week, but they can't really afford the 40 hours a week. They need somebody to answer the phone 9 to 5 every single day. And if they're not able to pay somebody to sit those 8 hours a day because they're not necessarily large enough, a company like mine would be the optimal solution where they're paying only for the time that they're actually using. I have the people sitting there anyways.
This is amazing. Okay, so let's continue on this. What type of industries do you service?
So I started in the contracting industry, where the company name was born. Basically, we actually started calling ourselves TCO Office Services because we outgrew our name.
Okay.
And basically, any person who has a small business that needs help in any of these areas, we're here to help them.
Now, could we please relist the areas that you serve, that you service companies?
So with the bookkeeping, billing, collections, basically having the entire QuickBooks ready for the accountant. Just hand it over. We deal with the accountants directly. Whoever your accountant is, we deal with them. If we don't deal with them already, we will deal with them. Right. That whole headache is completely off your head. We deal with answering the phones, setting up schedules. But the way we service our clients is we don't have packages where you just have to take a package off the shelf. We build a package for each and every client.
That's really good. You custom your service offering based on what your clients need.
Correct.
Now, your company provides very unique services. Can you explain what it means to outsource non-core tasks?
So I hate the word outsourcing because everybody feels like that's the Philippines and India. Right. But we have an actual office where we take the tasks of the office, all the office work that you can't necessarily, you don't need to necessarily be there for. And we take care of all that work. So, for example, if somebody's a plumber or electrician, they're great with their hands. They're not necessarily great with their books. Right. And we'll take care of all the office side. So we'll answer the phone. We'll get in touch with the plumber, electrician, whatever. We'll schedule their day. We'll use different softwares, whatever works for them, to try to keep their day completely organized, get them to on and off jobs, make sure they're billing for all the time that they're working, and making sure that they're making money.
Wow. This is a real a lifesaver for many. I mean, certainly solo entrepreneurs and even small businesses. Like, what size business would you say would be like, until that size, until that threshold, they're certainly they should be calling the contractor, calling your company, Contractors Office?
So the numbers really don't make that big of a difference here. I have companies that are doing in the millions, and I have companies that are doing very little. Right. Some people, I'm handling their side hustle. They have a job. I'm handling their side hustle so they can actually look like an actual business while they grow. The actual goal is that the company stay with us, and this way they never have to deal with it again. But there's if somebody has the full staff, then obviously they don't need us. There's obviously benefits to having people in your office that, we cannot do. We're not going to go ahead and bring you a coffee when you want a coffee like you do with the normal secretary. It's not physically possible. But as far as being in touch with, with our clients based on whatever service they need. So if they need daily service, need weekly service, need a monthly service, whatever it is that they need, we're there to help them throughout the process. And we always have people who are available to answer any questions as they arise. So
I'm going to ask a question that's probably on many people's minds. Do you offer services in terms of a sales team or let's say a back office to handle incoming calls for let's say for an event or a dinner or malava malka, etc.? What is the extent of your services?
So we try to stay away a little bit from sales because our staff it's very hard to train somebody to be a salesperson. They're not necessarily salespeople. They're very friendly. They're very nice. They know how to handle collection calls really well. They'll make sure you get your money. They're very positive and like that. But when it comes to sales, it's not really our strong point. And these one-off deals is not usually where we're heading. We're looking for clients who are going to continue service. I mean, we have had companies that we just did answering phones for them. That's all we did, or do. Right. Depending.
Now, you brought up an excellent point. I wouldn't even say that it's not a strength. Sales is a very complicated area, But where your team excels is that all the other stuff, like I even had non-core tasks, inbound calls like these solo entrepreneurs and these small companies. There's many different tasks organizing the day you brought up, which you and your team oversee. They probably use cloud-based tools.
Everything's cloud-based.
Everything cloud-based.
We have no servers. We have no
which
nothing.
Is great because I'm sure many of your clients probably they just have it. They have a particular app on their phone and it automatically syncs with your team. It's like a dream. Your team will also organize the day for many of your clients?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I mean, it depends. Again, it has to work with that type of client. Not every business does it necessarily work. But we will do our best to make it as organized as possible. We'll send messages. We'll send reminders. We'll use Google Calendars, whatever it takes to try to make it as easy for our clients as possible.
Now, here's just an interesting question. There are people out there that are old school, and they like to physically see, for themselves what an operation looks like. What happens then?
Come visit. Our office exists. It's not like we're in 30 different places and nobody can see us. Come meet us. We actually just last week, actually this is week 1, we actually moved into our new office in Nyack. We were in Muncie in a tiny little office, and Baruch Hashem, we outgrew it. And yeah, we're here. Come visit. You can see our office. We have clients that are old school. I have to go every week and pick up papers from them because they don't want to scan it. Wow. Is what it is. I mean, they have a dentist office.
That's a great example also, that you'll go down because they need boxes to be scanned. That's just non-core tasks that they don't have the need, or they want to train someone to go and deal with it. I won't call them headache work. I won't call those tasks headache work. But
call it headache work. Call it whatever you want. I mean, it's
work.
The annoying stuff that nobody wants to deal with, but has to get done. Everybody needs to bill for their work,
right?
And it's annoying to call people who don't want to pay you, but somebody's got to do it. Let my team do it.
How could people find out more about your company?
So our website's www.thecontractorsoffice.net. Actually, you can go to .com also. It comes to us.
And is there a direct phone number for people to call?
So, yeah, there's 844-303-6334.
Can you repeat that, please?
844-303-6334.
Mind Your Business with Yitzchok Saftlas right here on 710 WOR. I'm glad to have you along. By the way, this segment is going to be up on YouTube. And if you subscribe to our YouTube channel, you are automatically notified when this segment goes live. On YouTube, we're at 710 WOR Mind Your Business. Again, on YouTube, we're at 710 WOR Mind Your Business. Now back to my special guest, Yaakov Gluck, CEO of the Contractors Office. And in the before the commercial break, we were talking about the different industries and even company sizes that Yaakov services. Again, tonight's show brought to you in part by the Contractors Office. Before I ask you some more questions, Yaakov, how can people find out more information about your range of services?
You can always go to my website, www.thecontractorsoffice.net, www.thecontractorsoffice.net.
Well, Yaakov, you have a very fascinating company, because your company is servicing many, many, many other companies. What does it take to run such a company like yours?
So the way I look at it is, it feels like you have to have the right people doing what they're good at. So you have like the type A personalities. Mm-hmm. They're the best bookkeepers. They notice every penny. They are very on top of every little detail. But they're not necessarily the best secretary. You don't necessarily want somebody like that answering your phone, cracking down.
Right. Being tough, or you need someone who's very soft.
Right? So you have the secretaries who are very bubbly, friendly. So you get the best of both worlds, instead of hiring one person who's a bookkeeper secretary who likely will be very good at one, not necessarily very good at the other.
So that's interesting. That means for your team, you actually spend quite some time vetting the talent that you onboard for your team.
Well, yeah, I try to hire, and then sometimes we'll hire somebody and realize that they're not necessarily the greatest for bookkeeping, but they are very, very good for secretarial and vice versa. And sometimes we'll find that neither of those are the perfect skill set, but there are some other tasks that need to be taken care of where we'll be able to allocate them to do that work.
Yeah, and that's so true. And that's actually, I'm sure your team even appreciates that, because when someone is in their comfort zone, when someone is in the area that they're really great at, they'll do it with passion, they'll do it with excitement, and they're great at it.
Right. So I actually feel like my employees are my greatest asset.
Yeah, in fact, in fact, maybe you could even discuss that. How important is it for a company to nurture their staff, to care and look after their staff, to build a great corporate culture?
Well, people think that the clients are the most important part of your business. I feel like my employees are the most important part of my business, because if your employees are happy, they'll keep your clients happy. If your employees are not happy, they're not going to keep your clients happy. They just want to get whatever they're looking for.
So, Yaakov, holding on to this point, at this, we're in Q1 in 2022, and the job market is very tight. In fact, there was a story in the Wall Street Journal that Target, I think, is offering like minimum wage salaried positions at $24 an hour, something like that. Some like wow, how could they do that? There is a fight for talent. There is a fight for great staff. Perhaps you could still discuss this. What is your approach? What are your suggestions? We're not asking you to give away the fort, but suggestions that you implement at your company and that companies need to be mindful of when building their team.
Well, as I mentioned before, you try to keep you use your employees as an asset instead of an expense. Then your employees won't want to go anywhere. I have been in business now 5 years. I have yet to have an employee have to ask me for a raise.
Wow.
I always give it before they ask for it. Actually, I had an employee that started a couple of months ago. She got married. We have supervisors in each department, obviously. Right. And the supervisor called her and says, I need to have a meeting with you. The first day she's back from her wedding, from Sheva Brachos. She said, I need to have a meeting with you and Yaakov. When are you available? We have to do a Zoom meeting. So this lady is like shaking in her boots, and she comes into the meeting, and she's like, you could see on the face, she's all nervous. And my immediate thing was, thank you so much for all your hard work. We've noticed your hard work, and we know that now life is getting a little bit more expensive for you. We're going to give you a little raise.
Wow.
And the look on her face of relief and happiness, she took on already 2 more clients, like no problem, and she's ready for more. Right. So we actually asked her to extend some hours even for us. So showing the appreciation, showing that you care about your employees. Even if it's not something that necessarily you care about, but you show that you care about what they feel is important to them, they will reciprocate, and that in that way,
important point.
The employees won't go anywhere.
Right, very low retention. They're not leaving. They appreciate. They know that you have their back, as the expression goes. You're looking out for them, and they're going to go the extra mile for you.
100%. I was actually onboarding a new client this morning, and the client was like a little hesitant and nervous, and I said to the client in front of a couple of my employees, I said, you should just know anything that happens, I'm the blame. You don't have to blame any of my employees. I will never point a finger at my employees because it's my company. I have to answer to everything. It's not this one's fault, that one. It's at the end of the day, I hired this employee, it's my fault. So at the end of the day, they know the only one they have to blame is me, and the employee knows that no client is ever going to come to them, why'd you mess me up?
Special. Moving along, in doing the research for the show, I noticed that you started the company at a fairly young age. Could you please talk about, this is a very important even tip for many people out there, that the entrepreneurs in the crowd, in the listening crowd, how are you able to finance the company initially? Right, there are costs, there are hard costs, soft costs that are involved in getting a company off the ground. How were you able to do it?
So when I started the company, I had another job. I was assistant director of finance in a retirement center, and I rented office space nearby. I hired a couple people to start working for me. I did a little of the bookkeeping on myself for some of the clients because, well, that's literally what I was doing for a living. I purchased a house. I lived in the basement. I rented out the house. So my mortgage was paid. I lived rent-free for 5 years in order to finance this business. I mean, yeah, it's kind of hard living in a 2-bedroom with 4 kids, but at that point, we moved in with 2. But it was tough, but it is what it is. I mean, I'm not up to my eyeballs in debt, and it feels good to know that I'm not going to be paying people back for the rest of my life because I wanted to start a business.
It's a great way of looking at it, that there was, and a very important way, and that is better to make the sacrifice than to, in fact, this was really one of the issues when many companies got clobbered in the economic downturn of 07, 08. There were companies from the .com, the bubble, the companies that they get VC money, and they went out and built luxurious offices and got fancy couches and all that. They went into debt, and they didn't keep their eye on, okay, keep your costs to a minimum. Obviously, what you need to spend on, you need to invest in. But going for luxury purchases just because you're imagining that that's going to help the business, no. What you did was, and this is the proper way, is keep your expenses down, keep your overhead down, make sacrifices, but then you're investing for the long term. Which is, I love that story. So you bought the house, rented it out, that paid the mortgage, you lived in the basement, but you were able to finance the company.
Yeah, that's basically how I did it. I mean, I still drive my car that I bought when I was single. Over
Really?
10. I bought it in 2010.
Oh.
I bought a used car in 2010. Nothing wrong with it. Keep driving it.
Wow. Now, Yaakov, I understand this is very special and amazing that you're also part of Hatzalah. First of all, how do you do it? How do you manage, being involved in on such a level of helping others by the snap of a finger, of course, and yet running your company?
So, I kind of built the company in a way where I'm involved with all the emergencies, but at the end of the day, there's nothing on my day-to-day schedule for my company. Each client has different people working with them, and there's the whole train till it gets to me. But I want my employees to know that I'm doing this whole business because I care. I care about these small businesses. I care about the owners of these businesses who come into me a lot of times because they don't know the finances side of their business. They're very good with their hands, but when it comes down to the money, they have no idea. I had a client come in who literally showed me his books, and I'm like, you're spending more on your day-to-day expenses than you're making. You need to pull in whatever the number is to actually pay your bills. And just that breakthrough to him was like, oh, wow, I'm really not making enough money. So I said, either we're going to have to work on your pricing, we have to figure out something. Right now, he has 2 trucks on the road and has a team of 4 people working under him, making serious money. And we've been working with him for 4 years. But that's the same concept. Like I feel like, yeah, I may be young and whatever, but I want to leave this world a better place than I walked onto it.
Amazing.
And if that means taking Hatzalah calls and whatever, I'm not necessarily queasy. So I'll help people. It is what it is. I mean, I enjoy it.
Special. Before I let you go, Yaakov, how could people find out more information about the Contractors Office?
You can always go to the website, thecontractorsoffice.net, or you can call anytime. 844-303-6334 is our 800 number. And looking forward to working with you.
Thank you for watching, and make sure to subscribe to this channel and be notified every single time a new video goes live. Don't miss out on any of the weekly interviews that I have with top business leaders, sometimes Fortune 500 executives. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications.